and welcome to Tuesday Tips for Life, where we talk about things that benefit our lives. So, today and for the next couple of Tuesdays, we are actually going to be going through the 6 things that we talked about last Wednesday, which was the first Wednesday in 2018, about the 6 things that we are going to be focusing on in 2018. So, we looked at 2 C's, 2 G's, and 2 L's. So we're kicking off this Tuesday Tips for Life with the first C that we're focusing on for this year, and that is commitment. Commitment. I think we all kind of have a different picture of what commitment looks like. Maybe you associate it with something specific, maybe a relationship, maybe a sport that you're involved in. You have a commitment to that, or in another organization or activity that you're a part of. You make commitments to these things. But I kind of broke down what I would really describe a commitment as, because a commitment is not a one-time choice that you choose to play football, or you choose to be in band, or you choose to be in that organization. It's not a one-time choice. It's actually a choice that you make a pledge that you're going to continue making the same choice over and over again until you complete that promise or pledge or whatever it may be. So it's the fact that when you make a commitment, it's not just raising your hand and saying, yes, I'll do it. It's raising your hand and saying, yes, I'll do it, and I'll continue doing it, whether it be every day or whatever the commitment may be that you're talking about. But you're making an ongoing choice whenever you make a commitment. And so we don't have to make a huge thing. Like, every commitment isn't this huge decision we have to pray about, think about, all this kind of stuff. But we need to understand that when we make a commitment, we don't need to say yes unless we are committed to saying yes again and again and again, because it's an ongoing thing. The thing about commitment is, some of us might say that we have commitment issues. That's kind of a phrase that we might throw out there. But there are some issues that come with commitment, and I've even found 4 commitment issues that people might struggle with. One is that someone can't stick with their commitments. They can say yes, they can sign up, they can say, pick me, I'll do it, but then they struggle to stick with it. They can have a problem with committing to anything. That's another issue. They just don't commit to anything. They don't get involved in stuff. They don't volunteer for stuff. They don't put themselves out there. They don't commit to anything. Then there can also be an issue of committing to too many things, where you've said yes to so many things that you're not really doing the best job of keeping up your commitments because you're overextended. And then also, there's a commitment issue whenever someone can't prioritize their commitments, because we all have more than one commitment. But we have to know the priority that each of them have in our life. So there are some commitment issues. And the first one that I mentioned was that you can't stick with your commitments. And so that's just the one I'm going to address today, is not sticking with your commitments. I think it's important for us to understand that just because we get restless and we get that feeling of like, okay, I want to change something up, that isn't God's green light to say, yeah, just throw all those commitments out the door. Because God is interested and finds it important that we keep our commitments, because if we don't keep our commitments, what we're really doing is not keeping our word. We've said we're going to do something, and then we don't do it. And God is very interested in us being trustworthy and being people of our word. That's important to Him. He says so in His word. And so we have to understand that just because we feel restless, that's not God's sign of, hey, you need to fail on this commitment and move on to something else. There are times and there are situations where you may need to back out of a commitment for an important reason. But I think that that's something that you need to talk to your parents about, talk to a trusted friend about, talk to a mentor about, and say, listen, I've committed to this. What do you think about me stepping out of that? Because I really feel like I need to step away. That's something to talk with people that you trust and that you know are wise and are going to give you good counsel. But I encourage you, first of all, when it comes to commitment issues, if you have problems sticking to your commitments, just do the hard thing and practice doing the hard thing, because we want to be people of our word, and ultimately people who represent God in a well way. And so we want to be trustworthy, and we want that to be our reputation. We want that to be God's reputation. More on commitment next Tuesday for next Tuesday's Tuesday Tips for Life.